So I think the question is, where do I start? And it's always been something that I've been kind of struggling with, at least with the things in my life that meant something for me. And you might sit here, who the hell is this guy? What is he doing? Why is he wearing glasses inside? And all of that doesn't really matter. What matters is what I want to create, what I want to see in my life, and what I miss genuinely online, because I think personally it has gotten way out of hand. People are getting censored, people are talking about such random low consciousness topics, drama, how they heed whatever it did to them and whatnot. But how do you stand out? How do you actually create something worthwhile and something with meaning and intention? And so that's what I actually am trying to do right now. Set myself a challenge for how many days, whatever, where I just have to talk to the camera, where I just have to come up with the things that I've been holding on for so long, because I have been developing myself. I've been working on my personal problems. I've been studying a lot of stuff. I've been like grinding away, but also in a sense focusing on the multidimensional aspects. So what I mean by that is that it's not just one part of my life that I want to optimize. And you might have the same intention, but struggling to figure out where to start, what to do, who to listen to, and all of those things I want to completely break down for you, but also clarify all of the different fallacies that you might fall into, because I fell into them, and here I am. Not that I'm a guru, not that I have all of the answers, but I think with social media it's like energetic space. So how this will land in your mind will 100% be determined on where you are on your journey in this lifetime. And I think that is a very special thing. It kind of brings back the tribal area, the era for when humans didn't have a lot of inventions, we didn't have a lot of technologies, we didn't even have literature at the time. And that's what I want to tap into. Of course, there's the money aspects, there's the opportunities, there is the impact, but I think I have to put that aside in order to create this, because this is bigger than me. And if I focus on hooks, small tacky tic tac like tactics and strategies, and all of these, I want to say superficial way of interrupting people in their scroll just to get attention, I think it's just it's not what I want, right? So I'm talking to myself, but at the same time I'm trying to, if I can just help one person with anything, then this is worth it. And then therefore I have to put my ego aside. And so my struggle, to get personal, my struggle has been not sharing, not actually feeling that my voice was good enough to be heard, or at least not good enough, but valid. That my point of view is like as equally valid as anybody else's, right? And so therefore, I'm just acting as a mirror. I'm just acting. I'm just acting out of what I know and what I know to be true. Not what I'm scared of. Not what I want to do. Not what I like. This is this is the thing that it shows me in a sense, and it kind of sounds spiritual and it kind of sounds woo woo. And if it lands If it lands with you, then fair enough. If it doesn't, then go ahead. But it's really difficult because you get in this lifetime, you get born, and there's just so many things you can do, you can achieve, you can focus on. And so personally, when I think it's about 6 years ago when I was in Spain, I really had to dig deep in order to figure out what it is that I really want. And it's something that you have to, like personally, it's not something that comes out of thin air. It's something that you have to cultivate. It's like you have to create the motivation to get it. And and it's kind of like the scary thing that you don't want to talk about. It's the kind of thing that you're kind of scared of what others might say. Personally, I would like to work with people. I would like to share my philosophy and psychology of what I've been doing. And ultimately, I just want to make the world 1% better leaving it than when I arrived. Because there's a lot of hardship that I've endured, which I think was totally unnecessary. Because there's so many unnecessary things, and there's so much that wants to grab our attention, that wants to grab your money, that wants to grab your energy and whatnot. And it's your job to stay on the path. It's your job to stay focused. And I'm not meaning that in a kind of like grindy way, just grind away and like work, like hustle, productivity culture. I'm not talking about all that. I'm talking about staying on the path where it's not necessarily about work itself, where it's not necessarily about the thing that you actually desire, but it's more about the person you're becoming and the things you're learning in that realm, right? So when I was in Spain, I started to cultivate this slogan of I want to help myself help others, because back then I 100% was in a depression. I 100% was unsure, chaotic state of mind, unsure about what to do and how to actually define my vision. And I realized during the years, or like the following years, I realized that it's much more about staying on the path to get to know yourself than the path itself. So it's not about what you achieve. It's not about what you're gonna get out of it. It's not it's not about the thing itself, but the meta thing. So for example, you might be starting when we go to school, we go there with the intention to get a paper, you know, black characters on a white paper saying that we went to Harvard, we went to Yale, we went to whatever school or whatever university. And so you're getting all of that. But what you are getting, which is more important and has more influence on your life, is you're perhaps meeting the spouse you're going to marry. You're meeting your best friends. You're getting insights on reality, of the nature of reality that makes you shift. So you might have started with economics and then you ended up with physics and chemistry, because during those periods where you were in school, you learned so much about yourself that you realized that you wanted something else. And is that deviating or like following whatever is occurring in life and accepting that that is the path. So it gets kind of tricky, and understand that I'm not trying to say how to live your life. I'm not trying to say do this or do that, or you shouldn't do X or you shouldn't do that, because that would be a fallacy. You shouldn't listen to a guy online, but just understand that this is more like the structure rather than the content. So when I talk about the structure, when I talk about the path, that could be for me that going to school and I ended up changing the trajectory of my life. But for you, it could mean that you just stayed on the same path because you already knew that that was what you wanted, and you wanted that stipendium or like that scholarship or whatever, and then taking the leap to university or whatnot, not changing your branch, your line of work. But it's difficult, right? We don't want to be humiliated. We don't want to be seen as new to something. We don't want to be looked upon and not have the know-how of our field. So it's tricky. It's really tricky because you have to start at zero. You have to start at ground zero. And that's where I started. I think I started in minus, in the negatives, because I was so unhappy. I didn't quite knew was what it was, but I just knew that I had to face it. I had to face all of my demons, all of my shadows, and have to really trying to dance with it, trying to understand what it is that's going on down here. Because that's where it came from. The vision, the power, the energy, which which has now led which has now led to a lot of positive outcomes that I couldn't like possibly have conceived before going on the path. So it's like I didn't know I would end up here, and it sucked for a lot of years, and it's not easy, but it's worth it. In the same way that it's worth it to take that run, in the same way you should go for a walk. You should perhaps meditate or stretch your muscles after a long day of work, or relax your mind and not think about the results or the outcomes. Or you might need to start baking to get some nice food in your body because it needs it, it craves it. It's those sort of things that you might end up doing without realizing it, without actually trying to aim for it, rather than focusing 100% on the productive aspect and grinding away and actually doing the right thing, but for the wrong reason. Because you can do the right thing for the wrong reason. And then, personally, it's like having a relationship and you're loving by hating. It's it's like you're forcing yourself in a negative, damaging way rather than letting it grow like a plant. Like you cannot put steroids in it, and you perhaps it's gonna work, but it will it will infect the plant itself. In the same way that you cannot force yourself to grow, you have to let yourself grow. This is a very paradoxical thing, which we can discuss later on, because now it's just about what this is about. And so I want to make a space online where people feel safe, people can pattern interrupt their own identities, where people have the possibility to actually step up and use their own consciousness to make the change, whether that be in music, whether that be in art or whatnot. And not just have this wishful fantasy, dreamy thinking, but actually making it into reality, because everyone deserves it. Everyone deserves to have the possibility to actually have the room or the space for where growth can happen. And I think what I have learned is that we are so insecure and we're so scared of being humiliated and we're so unsure about ourselves that we as a species, we haven't let ourselves just continue to have this childlike way of being. We have lost it. And that's what I think that you have to regain. But regaining that, but maintain your sense of self, or maintaining your, how can you say it? like maintaining that part of you that actually holds the focus. So it's not about just running around and like playing video games and taking drugs or drinking alcohol, whatnot. But like understanding it, you can do that. You can do all of that. But focusing in on what actually makes you happy, on what actually moves the needle, on what actually matters with the time that you have on this planet Earth, I think that's worthwhile. And I just don't see it a lot. I see people talking about other people. I see people being dramatic online. I see a lot of influencers being influencers just to be an influencer, but they have nothing to say. It's more about making a script for an entire month so they can earn a living. Meanwhile, they're partially creating good content that people can follow, but it's just this herd mentality of people copying other people, and we just end up with a lot of excess, a lot of stuff that we don't need. In the same way that we have in the materialistic paradigm, we have produced a lot of stuff we don't need. We have like our consumerism has just went off the roof, and you know for a fact that you don't need that extra calories. You don't need to buy more stuff. You don't need to whatever. But we're doing it because of a lot of reasons, obviously. But it's not actually what we truly want. It's a fragmented distraction. It's a fragmented, distracted mind. And therefore, it's very difficult to get anything done. In the same way that I could be hooking you in, or I could be talking to you in a certain way to hit your pain points exactly, so you are hooked and you are feeling that I could help you, that I have the answers, because that would be the most efficient way for me to get my point across. But of course, I want to optimize and I want to compete, but at the same time, I just don't want to. I just don't care, because people will realize whatever they will realize when they're ready for it, not when I force them to. And so the point is not to give a lot of pain points and make a script to hook you in and then tell you the answers in snippets, because it's not that easy. If it was, then everybody would fucking do it. But it's not. Instead, people are hooking, people are trying to do a lot of stuff, and I'm just getting so tired of it. Hence is why I'm making this video, because for a lot of years I've not tried to make content, but I knew that I want to make content, but I've just been struggling to really find a way on how the fuck to start. Because starting is the most difficult thing. Because we don't want to be seen as, we don't want to be humiliated, and we don't want to be seen as not the expert, right? But I'm here to tell you, I'm the expert in my life, and that's why I'm giving the lessons. And I have a lot of stuff to say, but I'm not your expert. You have to be your own expert in your life. And that's where this all comes from. A mix of psychology and mix of philosophy, where it's like I can talk about reality and specific things and steps on how to do XYZ, but there's also the part of why is it that you're not doing the thing that you know you should be doing or that you want to do? And why is it, and what are the elements or the objects or the things in your road that blocks this path for you to just continue on walking? And that's really difficult, because then I have to open up in my life, and then it becomes a question of, well, who do I want to be? How do I want to project myself? Like, how do I want to appear? Not polished, not like a fixed state, but more like, how do I want to be? And how can I be me when I'm talking to the camera? And I can do that by being radically honest and authentic and not caring about how do I look and what people gonna think if I'm wearing glasses. Like who cares? I just do it because I do it. Like there's no point. It just is that way. Take the shot, make the move, ask the girl, say sorry to the person, make the video, take one action, and especially if you don't feel like it, you should definitely do it. I was just out skating after working, and now I'm doing this. And later I have to clean and I have to do a lot of other stuff because that's what I know I have to do. But I know when I'm putting my head on the pillow tonight, I'm gonna be content with myself because I actually did the thing that's gonna add to the long-term vision. And getting here has taken a lot of time and has taken a lot of courage building up over time. And so don't worry about the details. Don't worry about everyday life. Like you're gonna be fine. Most likely, depending on who you are and how good you know yourself. But that is the point, to get to know yourself, your good sides, your bad sides, that your character traits, what you can develop on, your weaknesses, strength, and all that. Because we all got it, and we all got insecurities, right? It's just a matter of, are you letting those insecurities or the ego, your shadows, your trauma, are you letting that determine your life, or are you determining it by yourself? And to end up with a quote from Terence McKenna is, if you don't have any plans for your life, you're likely going to follow into someone else's.